Hi, and welcome back! First and foremost, as always, I'd like to thank both Tabletop Audio and @SickBoyArt for helping us do this wonderful chaotic stream where it's all sunshine and rainbows and there's sunlight everywhere and we're all having a good time frolicking in the fields. Oh wait, no, that's my other campaign. So as we left off, there were there's a bit of a hectic situation as the party was discovered by a group of Kuo-toa scouts, ambushers, who knows, and thought that these would be prime targets for bringing back to wherever. A fight ensued, and as all hope seemed lost, the cleric of Ilmater got down on their knees and prayed for forgiveness and claimed that we were giving up. We had a gnome party member run away and claim that they had family and that they're very sorry. I won't mention any names. They play the harmonica. And we had one very troubled other gnome who started reminiscing about the visions that they had above on the surface world. And as all hope seemed lost, another group of Kuo-toa came in, this time seeming to be at war with the other group of Kuo-toa, and quickly cleaned house as the party was invited on their boats. The Kuo-toa introduced himself as Bloopleen, or Bloop for short, and described that their city is split. Their town is at war and at odds with one another. And as we pick up, Bloopleen begins, or continues explaining, as tongues he has cast on himself and did not cast on Trilvelo, because after reading spells, I found out that I got it wrong. Shocking. So as Ploop touches himself and casts tongues, you can all understand what he says, and the translation does not go through Stool. And Ploop continues by saying that there are a number of people in Studup that have gone over from the blessed teachings of the Sea Mother to this false god that they refer to as Li'imu'u'ugugun.
Which, could we get a spelling, or
Yes. It's Li'imu'u'ugun.
Right.
I'm looking up a spelling tree now.
Also known as the Deep Father, though, right?
The Deep Father, yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think I like that name more.
The Deep Father, yes. Let's get over to Up so I can get you that name.
I wasn't serious about needing a spelling. I think
I'm sorry.
I'm all right.
All right. Here we go. Just so you can see how it is spelt. Li'imu'u'ugun is.
It's spelled just like it sounds.
Yeah, totally. Phonetically.
Just throw some O's and some G's in there.
Yeah,
and you got it.
really fun. And as the archpriest is explaining this, the boats start turning around and they start rowing away. The rest of your party has been brought on to one of the now abandoned keelboats because, well, all their occupants are dead or ran away. So in the first keelboat, we have one of the Kuo-toa that is helping to maneuver the boat, followed by Popsy, Blupido, Dimjar, Stool, Eldith, and Sareth. In another boat, we have the Archpriest, Shushar, and the three of you. And the other two boats are piloted by Kuo-toa, who are bringing the boats back with you. You are sailing for about an hour as the archpriest Ploop continues to explain that everything was copacetic in Sludup for a long time, and only recently did the rise of this Deep Father become prevalent in Sludup. And I tolerated it for a while, but then my daughter had the audacity to switch over and claim herself as the archpriestess of this Deep Father, and he spits when he says that. I ask of you, I beg of you, to help me reclaim Sludup under the rightful... He's searching for the right word to say. For the rightful worship of our Sea Mother. This Deep Father has no place in Sludup, or in our city, or in our culture. Does not stand. That is why I'm going to offer all of you as a gift. And he waits for a response.
What
It's
manner of
part of a
gift?
plan, right?
Yes.
Cool. Okay. Yeah.
What manner of gift would we be?
They need sacrifices to appease their Deep Father. I will present you as gifts to be sacrificed to this Deep Father. And once they are preparing the ritual to sacrifice you, that is when we will strike. I love my daughter dearly, but this I cannot abide. I will cease this worship, this false god, once and for all. You help me with this, you help me take down my daughter. And I will provide you with whatever we can have the means to give you. Boats, guides, food, weapons. It'll be yours. Whatever Sludup has to offer.
Just to be double sure here, I'm gonna have to insight check that.
Sure. Okay. With a 15, you can see that while he is being earnest in everything that he is saying, there's like a micro pause when he brings up weapons and the ilk, which makes you think what he meant to say was whatever we have to offer, and if we have weapons, they're yours. Just a hunch.
Our crew is very much outnumbered by the rest of the Kuatoa here, right? And sort of outgunned as well.
If it were a fresh day and you were at the top of your game, maybe not so much. Because as you're looking around, I don't even need a roll for this, you could see that a lot of the Kuatoa are pretty beat up. You can see that some of them are bleeding, one of them has a broken fin, one of them is missing an eyeball. That's really different. So you think that at the top of your game, could probably outmatch them. But where you stand right now, being exhausted, being mentally exhausted, physically exhausted, probably not.
Your daughter's followers, they were formidable. If we're all trussed up as some dinner or dessert, I hope there's more to the plan. I don't know that we're just going to be able to pop out and fight them all, even footing.
In our culture, and one of the other Kuatoans begins to pipe up and speak, and you can't understand him at all. And Shushar translates. What he's trying to say is our people view outsiders as inept. You will be paid no mind.
I see.
Well, though you may see us as inept, we would like to, if we do accept this plan, I would like to go into it as fresh and capable as possible. We have had a long journey. We are hungry. We are tired. I am terribly wounded. My head is spinning all the time. We could use just a rest before we undertake this plan, if we do indeed choose to accept. Could we be hidden away for enough time to catch our breaths? And then we would be far more capable allies.
The archpriest thinks for a moment. I suppose it would. I suppose it would not be out of the question to make sure that the sacrifices are in top shape before they're sacrificed. I will see what I can do. Both of the arcane casters catch that when he placed his hand, he cast the same spell, Tongues, on him again, which tells you two things. One, he's used to this type of thing. Two, that's the second fairly high-level spell you just saw him cast in succession.
I want to have like a moment for our party to talk, but we're like stuck in a boat right now. I think getting this, whether it's a short or a long rest that we've just gotten out of them, is a good start. And
Yeah.
I think Chilvello's head is like, I don't know, maybe we can just sneak out and run away potentially, but we're giving ourselves more time to like think. So that's where Chilvello's head's at.
Okay. And the boat with the other members that escaped the prison with you are right next to you. I mean, they're less than a stone's throw away. They can easily hear everything that's been going on, so it's easy enough for you to communicate with them. Should you want to talk to him about anything?
I'll ask just lastly to Blue Ploopleen. Blue Ploopleen.
Bloop.
Ploop. Are we all meant to be sacrifices? All of our number?
No, of course not.
Oh.
You are being masqueraded as sacrifices.
Yes. Are we all meant to? And will we be stripped of our weapons? And
No.
No.
Again, ineptitude. And he looks at you like this is just, why don't you know this? Reinforcing his point.
Excuse me, I am an outsider. Turning to the rest of the party. At the very least, we have some time to think about it. What do you all have to say so far? Now I'll like kind of yell out to the rest of the group roughly what the plan is. You know, that we will be paraded as false sacrifices, and in return given whatever we need. Does anyone have a strong objection?
I still find myself relatively uncomfortable with the idea of leaving these renegade Kuo-toa to continue their sacrificing ways. As strange as these fish people seem, they don't seem particularly of ill sort, and I do not wish for them to suffer should we be able to relieve that.
I mean, it seems like a terrible plan, and we're probably going to get eaten, but before we were running for our lives and probably going to get killed, so at least we'll have some friends now.
And the Ploop speaks up. Yes, you will have friends. Friends that give you food and shelter.
A fine
Friends.
thought. Yeah. Ploop, who was it that first introduced the concept or the worship of the Deep Father? You said your daughter joined their ranks after they had already existed.
His name is... I need to check my notes. That's a weird name.
Yeah, I'll turn to the rest of the crew and just kind of whisper, if there's any way we can sort of cut off the head of these worshippers. I don't know much about the Kuo-toa, but I know their beliefs are some of the most important things about them. So removing a head priest, not suggesting anything to you, Ploop, but removing a head priest might do a serious blow to their morale.
That's exactly what we're planning on doing. And his name is Klubdulugot.
Oh boy.
Does he go by Klub, hopefully?
No, he goes by Klib.
Oh, I see. What did I say?
That's how you spell that.
All right, cool. Klib.
Klibdolugut. I forgot no in there, but whatever.
He's a
What's another
resident.
vowel?
He's a resident of Sloop Ludop? Or
Yes,
an outside? Okay.
a resident.
Is it often that one creates a new church within Sloop Ludop or begins worship of a new deity?
This is highly unusual. We all...
Had,
Go ahead, Adon.
had there ever been mention of a Deep Father, however heretical, before that?
Are you asking me, or are you asking Blue?
Blue.
No. This is the first time anything like this has happened in the history of Sloop. And, like, he's getting more of an accent the angrier he gets. This is heresy and tyrannical outrage.
Of course, of course.
And like you could see that he's starting to get like this fuzzy aura around him, like the more angry he gets. And he sees it and he calms himself down.
Can I do an Arcana or religion check on what that weird aura is?
Yeah, go ahead. Arcana or religion?
Okay, go Arcana. I'm a little bit better at that. 18.
You know that the Kuo-toa are steeped in, to be quite frank, weirdness. No one quite knows how they do what they do, but stories constantly go around about how the more a Kuo-toa believes in something, the more real it becomes, and the more a group of Kuo-toa believes, the more likely it will be that it will be. No one really understands how it works, it just kind of does. And you can see that that same aura happened on that other Kuo-toa you were fighting not an hour ago. Right before he was at death's door, a net appeared in his hand.
Oh. If only more Kuo-toa believed as our friend Shusha does, and create a society of non-violence.
If only. Shushar looks down and then looks back up at you sheepishly, which is the first time you've really ever seen him do this. There are some in Ludop that do not agree with my ways. There are some of those that do not agree with my ways that worship the Sea Mother. There are those who agree with my ways that worship the Deep Father. Some, they view me as a prophet. Others, and Ploop fills in the rest, a madman.
That
In good company.
Yeah, Ploop thinks that. Okay. Over the course of this hour, I assume we've been having a conversation. Are we getting the effects of a short rest? Is that a moot point, or are we about to get a long rest? I don't know.
As you arrive at this grand opening in this huge lake, it's off to your right-hand side that you see these bunch of reeds that are just sticking up out of the water. Before you realize that, oh, these aren't regular reeds. These are huge. Oh, these are buildings. And you're realizing that you are now, for the first time, seeing what Sloop Blue Dot looks like. Let me get over here so that I can explain to you.
I just want to make sure we have brought our formerly potentially still unconscious, like, other Kuatoa in tow.
Have.
Oh, our prisoner, yeah.
He's with the other Kuatoa that are in the other keyloads. Uh-oh. Welcome back. I think. We hope. We're going to continue.
Yeah.
And as you're seeing this wonderful, magnificent sight, he's gone again. He's back again. Yes, you would have gotten a short rest on your way over here. You would not have been able to gain the benefits of the Song of Rest, however.
Yeah, we were talking.
Right. So,
All right.
if you would like to spend hit points or hit dice, you may. Remember,
Yeah.
plus con.
I want to ask Ploop something before we disembark.
Yes.
The ones we fought before, they seemed able to do things I couldn't explain. Summon things out of thin air. Are we going to be facing that again? Is there a way to prevent it, even temporarily?
Not that I'm aware of. It just happens. We are a wonderful people. We are a people proud in what we do. That particular whelp believed wholeheartedly that you needed to be caught. Why Nat appeared. He was a singular mind. Usually, we as a people are collective. Short answer, no. Long answer, probably not.
Okay.
And Adon, I don't know if you were in or out, but you did get a short
Missed a
rest.
sec. Cool. Okay. But
Okay.
not a long one, at least for the time being.
For the time being, no.
Okay.
However, as you are escorted into the docks, you can see that Sloop Blue Dot is enclosed to the north and south by these outer walls. And I say that because they're not walls in the traditional sense. They're made out of these gigantic nets of barbed hooks and rope. And as you approach, you can see these Kuatoa, 4 on each side, getting these giant hamster wheels and start running really fast. And as that happens, the net begins to lower. And you're brought into this gaping maw of this enclosure of these reeds that make the city of Sloop Blue Dot. And you can see Kuatoa everywhere, milling about, going about their business, some swimming, some walking up buildings, some walking the streets. And you see that the architecture of Sloop Blue Dot is somewhat strange. It isn't like a normal city where everything is on ground level and buildings just go up. There is a town square, but there is a stall in the town square that's 2 stories up, that's connected by a walkway that connects to a building that connects to another building. And then from that walkway, it goes over another story up and there's another stall. And there are walkways connecting all of these buildings, and you quickly realize that... Actually, everyone make me a general intelligence check.
Oops.
Okay.
That wasn't.
Travella, this...
Sorry,
I'm sorry?
that was a save. That was a save. That was.
Okay, so...
I did that wrong.
What's your normal check?
-2.
Okay, so 20.
-2 from what I got. 20. It would be
Yeah,
20.
okay.
Yes.
So Travella, it's kind of lost on you why they did this, but both Adon and Feder realize that these are underwater people. They're aquatic people. So they built their architecture as though they were still underwater. They built in 3 dimensions. And as... Go ahead.
Why is their city above water?
Ask that?
Yes.
There are more dangerous things than the Kuo-toa beneath the water. We thought it was wise to build above.
Makes sense.
And he kind of gives a nervous glance over the boat. Like, die successful. And as you continue your way into the city, let me give you an idea of what it looks like.
Ooh.
Welcome to Sloopludup.
Big man.
And so y'all are right here. You can see all this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. I want to make sure that it
Very
wasn't
fuzzy
being
for me.
hidden
Maybe
by
it's just a
shadow.
download. I don't know.
I'm sorry?
It's very fuzzy for me, but maybe it just has to download. I don't
Maybe.
know. Oh, there it goes. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So as you're brought in, you are met by these Kuo-toa who stop you from going anywhere further. This will take some time. You will be escorted over to my sleeping quarters once you are done. And both Bloop and Shushar leave without saying another word, really. And you can see
Yeah.
over on the other dock, the rest of your party is being met by the same band of Kuo-toa who are giving the same gestures. As they come over to you.
I'm definitely like, done? Done with what? What do you mean done?
The auguries, as the spores settle over you again. And they see your dumbfounded faces. I told you, inept.
Did you repeat that?
You have to go through the auguries.
Okay.
Yeah, not so inept. We must determine whether or not the gods find your presence here favorable or not. That will determine the outlook on all of you. And then he just says, sit.
I sit down.
All right. Use more of a rest. Been walking a lot.
Better?
I will sit
Okay.
slowly.
As you put your warhammer down and just kind of use it to kind of shimmy to the ground, it's right as you're about to start bending your legs that, nope, not today. And just shimmy down, like straight, flop down. And the Kuo-toa surround you and they begin chanting, and even though the spores are about you, you still can't understand what they're saying. And they seem to be in this ceremonious chant. And you see that on the other side, the other of your allies are going through the same process. Stool is going in circles. And bones are scooped up and shaken and cast out like dice. There are leaves that are being scooped up, seemingly random leaves of seaweeds, and one of them licks it, begins looking at it, and then puts it over its eye. Another one.
I'd
we
like
could-
to try to determine if this is real magic or just a ritual.
Go ahead.
You know,
Make an
just,
Arcana check.
just a series of things.
Make an Arcana check.
Okay.
Seems legit.
Okay.
You are so unfamiliar with the Kuo-toa magic and their practices that you couldn't begin to tell where procedure ends and falsities begin.
Okay.
And after all is said and done, Adun, roll me d20. Ugh. The bones and the leaves, says the guy who now has his whole face covered in seaweed. Some bones sticking out every which way. The bones find you favorable.
More bones.
Well done. Good job,
He
Adon.
takes one out and just eats it.
Oh,
Mostly. Come with us. And turns
I
around
would-
and just starts waddling away.
Prefer to wait for my friends here.
They're leaving at the same time.
oh, that was for all of us.
Yes,
wasn't
yeah,
it?
the come with
Okay.
me was for all of you.
Okay.
There is a Kuo-toa that's kind of staring down at you, Feder. Well?
Oh. I'll try to give him a hand up, though I'm
Yeah, I will
we'll start
just
to do it.
put my hand up towards the Kuo-toa and not even say anything and just look at him with like put my warhammer into the ground with the other one.
He does nothing to help you. Are you
I'm
gonna get
just
up or are
gonna-
you gonna sit there all day?
Are you going to help me or not? Clearly, I'm not very. You know, you find me quite inept.
That you are! And he just unceremoniously yanks you up.
Ow.
Blub, blub. And you are led further into the city, and we're going to leave your tokens right here, and we're just kind of do a little abstract look in here. And you are led to a tiny hut over here. And as you are led inside, Bloop waits for you once again. Go back. Thank you. I have been able to talk with the others. And this time you're hearing his voice come out as the fishy voice that you're used to hearing Shushar say, indicating that Tongues is not active and Gould is. I have managed to bargain a way for you to spend the night here, for you to be sacrificed in the morning. Be able to sleep here tonight.
Thank you.
That's tremendous news. I haven't slept. What do you have beds? What sort of the pile of seaweed?
He looks down at the floor.
Well, nothing I'm not used to by now.
Do factions come to blows within the city?
Oftentimes. That's
Dare
not
I
his voice,
ask,
oftentimes.
do you often provide sacrifices for the Steep Father?
Me? No. This would be the first time, which is why concessions were made.
So they do not look suspiciously at this at all, perhaps?
We do not provide sacrifices to the Sea Mother. He does not require them. Anything found is an ample offering to our Sea Mother. The more personal, the better.
I simply worry perhaps your daughter may be wise to the fact that this is not something you would usually do.
She is overjoyed that I'm even speaking with her. She will listen.
Fair.
I know not of your surface or family ties, but down here. And you can see as he's doing this, he's so uncomfortable standing in this hut that he leaves. And continue talking. He hasn't stopped talking. He just leaves and starts walking around, and he looks so much more comfortable.
Can I do an insight? What is that about?
Yeah.
Let me see. Not my finest, but 16.
As you're looking at him and wondering what's going on, you start looking around, and all the other conversations that are going around in the city, other Kuo-toa talking to other Kuo-toa. If there's one person talking to a bunch of people, it's not somebody standing on a podium. It's one person talking as they're weaving in and out of a crowd, and the crowd kind of follows them, almost like a school of fish.
Always on the move.
Yeah, they
It's
all
like sharks. Like they have to be moving to be breathing. Very interesting.
And it's just happening throughout the city. You could see this isn't a unique instance. And as Ploopy is talking, he's walking in between all of you. I don't know how families work for you surfaces, but down here, family is precious but large. There are many of us, but we all talk with one another. We all share secrets and insights with one another. For a family member to be extricated, the fate worse than death. And this deep father is worth seeking something more than death, apparently.
Family is very important. We are not so different in that way.
You are welcome to roam our city. You will be escorted to the shrine of the Deep Father in what you would refer to as 9 hours.
Is there any possibility of us procuring supplies before this whole situation goes down? Or is that something that must be done after the fact?
If you provide an ample offering to the Sea Mother, yes.
And what was it you were saying is her offerings of choice?
Shushar comes into the building. Something found. Found offerings. Something more personal, the better. You find something that holds nostalgic value to you. You give it to the Sea Mother, she accepts your offering.
Understood.
If you would
When
like, I can point you in the right direction. It's not far.
All right.
And he
When we get to this,
he sticks his
Sorry,
head
go
out and points left.
when we get to this altar of the Deep Father tomorrow, what would you have us do specifically?
You will be stood in front of the altar. There will be a speech or a ceremony made. I pay little mind to it. And before the ceremony is complete, I shall attack my daughter. I need only enough time to end her.
You wish for us to attack her, her compatriots?
Her or her compatriots, it matters not, just so long as she is ended. It must end.
Do we have a good way to identify which of your people are her followers?
No.
Okay.
And he sticks his head out and he points to the left. The shrine is right there. You will see some other offerings to give you an idea.
Okay.
Well.
And then he goes back in and unceremoniously falls down and stops moving.
Is he sleeping? Is that what?
You can't tell. He doesn't have eyelids.
Oh. No, I was going to ask him for a moment to ourselves, but I suppose this is his sleeping quarters. I want to kind of corral the crew a little bit, and had sort of Trilvello was very like keyed into the talk about family, because that was what was on his mind that made him essentially like betray everyone and try and flee. So I pull everyone aside and I say, so I wanted to talk about what happened on the shore when I fled while the rest of you were being assaulted. I don't know how many of you could hear me in the midst of battle. I have a family waiting for me in Daggerford, and something took hold of me, and it was all that I could think about. And Ardan, you know, you've met them before, but the rest of you don't know, and I don't know if any of you have family, but I guess I don't. You all are acting like I didn't betray you and try and flee, and I'm a bit shocked. I don't understand. No one's. I don't know. I want to clear the air. I feel very ashamed.
It's a pretty hopeless situation. We were all gonna die. On a boat, on the ground.
I had given up myself until the Kuatoa had come. I cannot lie. Should I be a little more capable of escaping on my own, perhaps I would have thought of it myself, but it's not something that has crossed my mind of yet.
Popsy pipes up. I ran away too. I turned into a thing. I ran away. You came back. It's a thing. Jimjar also pipes up. Yeah, you know, I went. I mean, granted, you told me to go, but you know, I went the other way, and you know, we all came back together. You know, it's we're tight. It's okay. We do stupid things all the time, but yeah, it's okay. Yeah, we got you. It's okay. It's good. Family's
We're all being-
a thing.
We're all being pushed to our limits here, I think.
Say again.
Trilvello is like crying a little bit as you guys like just kind of like he hadn't even thought about the other people running away, but it is just like was so down on himself, and I just kind of like nod and do a little sniffle, and I say, "All right, right, of course we're all sort of on edge. All right, So what are we all thinking? Are we going along with this crack? Adan, you said we're likely to die. Is that? I understand you're becoming more keen with your divinations. Is this something you've foreseen? Because that's very troubling.
Not with this specific plan, just in general, Doom. So it doesn't seem any worse than the other ones, I think.
Jewel pipes up. Fact. We were supposed to die in Velkenvalve. Fact. We were supposed to die when we ran away from Velkenvalve. Fact. We were supposed to die when that vent exploded and we met the bandits. Fact. We were supposed to die when we went the scratchy things.
Stool. I think we understand.
It jumps up and then just headbutts Trilvello, like a cat headbutt.
Sure, yeah.
Just like
it's an affection thing.
Yeah. Not Oh, we're all supposed to die. I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, we're probably not of a too dissimilar height. Also, like Trovello is like Trovello is 3'4". I don't know how tall.
You are a towering foot taller than Stool.
Okay, so he's like up to my ribs.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of like rest my hand on his cap. All right. Well, it seems to me like maybe our days of running in terror and facing death every turn of the way is maybe coming to an end. We only have
I doubt it.
more challenge to face.
Seems unlikely, but a break is a break.
Eldith pipes up. We still have no idea where we are, but sticking together is a good idea. I mean, running together is probably a good idea.
And at the very least, perhaps this is for a good cause, if nothing else.
You follow Mater, right?
Indeed.
I mean, he's literally the god of people who have suffered. We are in the process of suffering. I think that, and I'm not a religious person, but pretty sure he's got a plan. I'm willing to believe.
That's what has gotten me this far.
Well, I don't have it in me to explore tonight. I'm going to get all the rest I can. If the rest of you want to check out the city and search for resources, feel free. But I'm going to turn in with, and I glance at the like widely staring Ploop. I'll probably look the other way, but then I just kind of like lower myself down.
So Trovell is going to sleep. The others are dispersing. They're going into a hovel right next door where they have been granted permissions to sleep. There are actually two of them. Fetter and Adon, are you doing anything?
I would like to go make an offering to their sea mother.
Okay.
Yeah, take her along.
In the name of Ilmater,
Sure.
of course.
Right. It's easy enough to find. As you look left, it's literally right there. It's 30 feet away. You see that it is a 9-foot tall statue. Its body is roughly carved from some kind of wood in the shape of a humanoid female. Its head and forearms are formed with the severed head and claws of a giant albino crayfish. These parts are lashed together with strands of gut and emit an overpowering stench of rotting shellfish. The shells, brightly colored stones, mushrooms, and rotting fish are piled at the statue's feet and strung in garlands around its neck. 4 stern Kuo-toa slowly circle the statue, alert on guard, while a few others mill about, gazing up the statue and bowing repeatedly while chanting in some...
If we attempt to approach the statue, will the guards look like they'll let us through, or not?
As you approach, they look at you, they make a note of you, and they don't do anything else.
Okay.
As you get
I'll
closer
go.
to the statue, one of them says something, and then just minds his own business and keeps going.
Okay.
Do I see any obvious place where these offerings may be placed or located?
Yes, and it's all around, and it's scattered and haphazard, and there's no real rhyme or reason to it. It's just around the base of this statue. And you could see that there are all sorts of things. Like, picture like an environmental commercial that's showing a beach that has like garbage all over it, like soda cans and plastic soda rings and trash bags and just discarded stuff. and there are other Kuatoa there that are putting down like bits of shiny rocks, and one of them gets down on its knees and begins heaving, and the others look at him in shock and in reverence as he's doing this, as he heaves and just regurgitates right on this pile of stuff, and then just bows reverently and backs up.
Oh, something found.
I suppose I'm going to just find a at least somewhat clear space, if that's even possible.
Nope.
I don't wish to interrupt any of their offerings, I suppose. So I guess I'll just pick a space where at least it's clear of Kuatoa.
Okay.
So like with some space around me. I'm going to pull out, I have from my background a token of remembrance.
Sure.
It says it's supposed to be of my parents, but I would like it to be of my orphan mother.
Of
That's
course.
like my matron.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like a seashell, like a colorful seashell that she's given me and I've held on to.
Okay.
And I'm going to hold it in front of me in my hands and put my head down. And I'm going to say a prayer to a mater and then place the seashell on the ground.
Okay. Make a religion check.
Should I guidance this one? Is this something I can guidance?
No. This would be straight, because this isn't something that you would know to guide yourself. Okay. And as you do, and as you put this reverently down, you're brought back to the time in the chapel, in the area of worship, in the sepulcher, where you had that conversation with Mother Rock about wanting a name, about the reverence of Ilmater, about the suffering of all and the suffering of you, suffering that you are trying to negate, the suffering that you worship Ilmater to stop. And you put this token down, and you see that this is a goddess, a scavenger goddess. A scavenger goddess of not people, but things that have suffered, that now have a home. And you feel a spiritual connection between the Sea Mother and to Ilmater, although completely alien in nature and completely well outside of your wheelhouse of any sort of knowledge of this deity. You know that there is a connection of something lost and something found. You are that something found, and so too are these things. Something found, something that is no longer suffering.
Sorry, I missed it. What did you offer?
I had a token of remembrance from my background of my orphan matron.
I see.
And as you put it down, your knees and legs begin to wobble as you feel yourself losing your balance, and one of the Kuatoa comes up and steadies you. And
I will simply nod.
and it helps you get down on your knees.
I will stay there for a moment and keep my head like bowed to myself as I pray.
And the Kuatoa does the same.
I have a small stretch of spider silk that I found in Velkenvelv, and for a while it was the only little bit of hope I had of having, the only thing I had and the only hope I had of somehow using something to get out of there. I'll take it out of my sack, which does not have much else in it, and wrap it around one of the hands of the statue if I can reach there.
It takes a bit of reaching, but yeah, you can do it.
Jump, little.
Make a religion check for me, please.
Okay.
And as you do this, one of the other Kuatoa comes over and it sees you trying to get up and just barely out of your reach, and it puts up and ties it around, and it puts a really slimy, comforting hand on your back. And you could swear for the briefest of instants, as you look up at the face of this statue goddess, that it winks at you. Blink your eyes and look again. Moved. But the stench really is awful. We're talking like New York City dump on a 95-degree day.
I was about to say, how much worse is it than like the slums of Baldur's Gate?
I mean, it's about equivalent, actually. Yeah, this.
So it feels like home in a strange sense.
Just another connection. Just another. That makes it so much worse. I'm so sorry. And as you continue to pray and look up, you realize that a lot of the Kuatoa have left. There are still those 4 stern Kuatona constantly making that circle around the altar, and realize that although you don't really have any sort of gauge of time, you have been here for a while. It might be time to start getting some rest.
I will head back.
That makes sense.
I will make sure to give a grateful nod to the posted guards of this temple, I suppose I will call it.
And they all stop in unison. A little creepy. They'll just give you a nod. You can... As you get back, and does anybody want to do anything else? Okay. Sleep takes you all, gratefully, knowing that you are now a safe place.
Nice feeling.
You all have dreamless sleeps, except for Dawn. The feeling is familiar. You've had these before, especially on the surface, which is kind of comforting. This is the first time you've had a dream of this caliber beneath the surface. Well, that's really where the comfort ends, because this is the dream that you've had for many a day, the dream that took you out of your hermitage. Of those same oily tentacles, of those same screaming voices, of those same black, flaccid wings flapping in the night, of alien screams, of terrified screams, of victorious yells, of a feeling of wrongness on a level so deep you can't begin to fathom. But then something else begins to be ever clearer. You see an endless maze as viewed from above. A maze made of black, oily, dripping walls. A maze that has no end. You see fires lit in corners of the maze. You hear screams in this maze. And then burned in your vision, you see this symbol of fire of a shape of a Y. And you all get a long rest, including Adon.
Interesting.
And before we continue, we are going to... Oh wow! 2 14s! And as your divination has been cast this morning, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break. And we'll be right back to find out what the night, time that has 8 hours been elapsed has for you. Until then, see you soon. And in the morning, you think. You're calling in the morning because you don't know what time it is and you just woke up. Morning? Sure, why not? You awaken to the fresh smell of dead fish and rotting something. And Bloop is outside of the hovel as you all look around and pokes his head in. It is time. But your allies are complaining about somebody missing.
Uh-oh.
Who's missing?
They said somebody.
Let's go talk to them.
Yeah.
And he leads you over to where they were staying. And you start taking a head count, and okay, yeah. Cupido, and there's Jewel, and there's Sareth, and there's Eldith, and there's Jimjar. Quickly find out that Jimjar's nowhere to be seen.
Well, who was the last one that saw him?
As two others piped up, Sareth and Stool, actually. He was staying in our hut, and the rest were staying in the other one. He woke up and he was gone.
He's done that a few times before, hasn't he? Kind of gone off on his own.
Not us seeing it, but I thought it worthy to bring up.
Stool, forgive my ignorance. Do you traditionally sleep, or
Factual. Yes.
Right? So you wouldn't have been privy to anything. But Sareth, you're an elf. You meditate. You didn't notice anything?
Did not. And he looks really sheepish.
I want to do an insight check on Sareth.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, critical success. Well, 22. No criticals on skill checks, but
You are no stranger to embarrassment. This is no exception. This seems fairly sincere, especially coming from someone who had a fairly embarrassing speech about running away last night, whenever it was. This seems pretty earnest.
I cannot really say I'm surprised. He was quite skilled at what he did, being sneaky about things.
We don't know that he fled. And I'll drop my voice a little bit for Ploop's sake to try and keep it a little bit quieter. And I'll say, we're in a strange city with known evil cultists. He could have been captured. He could have been. Who knows what could have happened to him?
Hopefully it's just some strategic repositioning.
I feel Sareth would have been more likely to see him being captured than to see him sneaking off on his own, given what I know of him.
I'm just saying, and Trevello is thinking about like the conversation we had yesterday and like feeling like we were all like a good team. I don't know. I guess I assume that he wouldn't do that to us.
We should keep an eye out. He might still be around.
I do not expect him to have left completely. More likely to be causing some sort of trouble, perhaps.
Once we're through this sacrifice rod,
Yes,
be able to...
the time for talk is over. We must go. And
I follow.
okay. and you are all brought over to the Shrine of the Deep Father. Let me guys over there so that you can see what exactly it will look like. Okay. As you are brought over, the idol to the Deep Father, or Li'imu'ugu'ugun, is a large hide cut roughly in the shape of a manta ray and stretched out on cords between two support poles. A dead, splayed-out manta ray is pinned to the center of the hide. Two dead octopi are draped across the top, their tentacles pinned artfully and arrayed, their heads tied together and painted with red and blue pigments. The idol reeks of decay, and the broad stone altar below is stained dark with blood, and to your horror, fresh with blood, as you see splayed out in a similar fashion as you've seen before, Jimjar. His front cut open, his organs splayed out in a decorative fashion all throughout the altar. The altar of which looks like that.
I don't think I'm on the right map. Oh, got it
Is Ploop still with us?
He is, and he looks confused as to what he's looking at, not disturbed.
Can I do a madness roll? This is insane.
Yes, in fact, I would like you all to make a madness roll, a wisdom saving throw, as not only are you viewing this, but Adon specifically, you are seeing that same symbol that you saw in your dream.
Where am I seeing it?
On the altar, as it is inscribed on the altar. You could all see that picture, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
cool.
Yeah.
Come on. Here we go.
Travello. Travello, no.
Well, now I gotta get to the madness table here.
None of us did that great. None of us really are coming out of this one clean. I mean, that's one of our guys, and not only like I freaked out when Trent was killed in battle. This is like he's been blood eagled or something. Like oof.
Blood Eagle, I love it. Okay,
my immediate response to that would be to turn full bore around towards Ploop, and with quite a bit of menace in my voice, be like, the meaning of this?
His confusion translates over to you. Nothing about it. I'm confused as to why the sacrifice happened. Trilvello, what's your madness at right now?
2, unless it's about to change.
Okay, Adon?
0.
Okay. And Feder, you were at 3?
I was at 1.
Okay. So, everyone failed. So, Adon, we'll start with you. Roll me a D100. $11. So you got off easy. So you are paralyzed with indecision as to what's going on.
Okay.
For the next 10 minutes.
Okay. Is my insanity go up?
Yes, your insanity goes up by 1, so you now have madness level 1.
Okay.
Okay. Better. Roll me a D10. D100. D100. 11.
What are the chances of us rolling the same exact number on the D100 back to back? That's
Yeah. Okay. You are channeling your inner Ophelia, you can't get enough of this grime and dirt and filth off of your hands. So for the next 100 hours, your hands are inevitably always dirty, and you cannot get them clean, no matter how hard you try. Trilvello, roll me a D100!
Oh boy, paving the way.
93!
93.
I don't like how excited you were to say that number.
Congratulations, you now have a new flaw.
Okay.
I can't take anything seriously. The more serious the situation, the funnier I find it.
Okay, hold on. I can't take anything seriously. The more serious the situation,
The funnier
the
I find it.
funnier I find it.
This is gonna be fun.
Oh dear.
That's
For him,
indefinite.
yes. For the rest of us, I'm not so sure.
That's indefinite.
Excuse me?
That's indefinite.
Oh dear. Okay.
So your madness is at 3, Trilvello. Feder, your madness is at 2, and Adon, your madness is at 1. Oh, good!
Question. As a cleric and someone who dealt with, people from the slums of Baldur's Gate, do I have any knowledge of this sort of madness thing, and if it is fixable?
Make me a religion check.
As you are thinking about that, and Adon is like freezing up, Trovello just starts like just like staring at the flayed corpse of Jim Jar.
Also, speaking of, make me a history check as you're chortling to yourself. Feder, you're not sure.
20.
Wow, you know what's really funny? Prince Darendel had the exact same setup. That's so hilarious.
I pointed. It's the same. The stomachs. You can see every part of them.
It's just so funny. My gosh.
You don't normally see that far into a person. You can see everything.
Man, I've got the chuckles. Okay. So, as Adon, you are paralyzed with fear, and Trilvello just starts chuckling to himself as Feder is trying to figure out what's going on. You see 6 more Kuo-toa walk up to this shrine as they are arranging the offerings. Kalib comes out as he is introduced, and it's this Kuo-toa that's got all of these body parts arranged in such a way that it looks like a headdress. As he starts making this grand speech in a language that you don't understand, and you continue to not understand, as you realize that Stool has not done its spores, and I'm not really sure why. As the speech goes on and on and on for the next few moments, as the speech comes to a crescendo, a female Kuo-toa comes out, and you can see the disdainful look that Ploop has on his face, and you can only imagine that this is his daughter. As Glugog comes around, son of Plupin. He leans over and says to you in fairly intelligible common, which kind of a surprise to all of you. Right now, they are talking about how they are going to sacrifice you to keep Father, how very important it is. I thought you might want to know. As Blupri Braad comes out and continues talking in this high crescendo voice, in this big empowering stance, as she is talking about how important it is that something or something or something. The translation is not great at all. This guy's kind of half-assing it.
If our hands are not bound,
I'm sorry?
I think if our hands are not bound,
They're not?
I reach into my pack and I pull out my harmonica and I start playing a little jaunty tune to go along with the
Okay.
the crescendo speech. Just
Okay. Are you giving her inspiration?
No, I'm not. I'm just catching the vibe of the.
Okay. And as she reaches this crescendo, Ploop takes his staff and beats her upside the head with it. As everyone goes into this mass panic. Everyone is going every which way. Adon, you are stunned beyond belief. You're just watching wide eyes as everything is happening. Ploop is beating his daughter over the head with his staff. The Kutor are going nuts and attacking each other. Blood is flying everywhere. Body parts are flying everywhere. We're not going to roll initiative for this. I want you all to tell me what you're doing. Adon is going to leave. Travella, what are you doing?
I am trying to play my harmonica through my giggles.
Okay. Sure. So you're not engaging anything right now. You're just watching the madness unfold.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Better. Are you doing anything?
How far am I from the daughter and Ploop?
20 feet.
Still reeling from my new madness, and considering that perhaps my hands will feel clean if I fix what caused the situation, I am going to run over and attempt to touch her to cast Inflict Wounds.
Okay. Make an attack roll for me.
Just an attack roll or cast the spell? Like
Cast the spell.
attack
I
roll?
apologize. Just to give you guys an idea of where you are. Oh, it would help if I got back to the right page. Okay, 18. That's not an 18, that's an 11.
That is an 11.
I'm looking at the hit points of somebody else. Okay, and as you go, she's quite literally slippery as your hand just slips right past. You aren't able to make purchase. As this chaos unfolds, Don, you are finally able to come out of your stupor. Do you do anything?
Are you muted?
All right, I missed a tiny little bit. Poop there with his staff, and then
Chaos broke out.
Okay.
So we're not rolling initiative. We're kind of doing the theater of the mind of what is it that your character would do in the moment. You see Ploop attack his daughter. You see that they're engaged. You see all the other Kuto are engaged with one another as there's so much fighting. Are you engaging, or are you just standing back and watching everything unfold?
I want to try to bring this grotesque statue thing down.
Okay.
I am going to cast a chromatic orb of acid at it.
Okay. And as you do this orb of acid, yeah, without any sort of issue, comes out and just starts eating its way through this vile statue. It goes right through the heads of these two octopi as they begin to sag apart, and as they sag down, you could see that Ploop gives a devastating killing blow to his daughter as cracks over the head as she finally sinks down as she shouts out with a dying breath, "Imogogo!" as she falls down and sinks into death. And you can see that even her head is split a little bit reminiscent of the statue that you just acidified, Adon, as the heads sink down. Past the statue, you can see that the waters of the Dark Lake begin to roil and boil and become more and more turbulent as you see a tentacle flash out and come down, and then another one as the water begins to become more and more turbulent as see power emanating from the statue begin to pulse out as eyes of the two octopi on the statue begin to glow and begin to burn as that symbol begins to burn as well on that statue. The Y symbol, reminiscent of the two octopi, their heads sagging down as the tentacles begin thrashing about more and more. And then you see, to all of your horror, as this shape begins to emerge out of the water of the Dark Lake. One giant simian head comes out of the water, followed very closely by another simian head. As this giant ape-like form begins to come out of the water, its appendages like tentacles, two on each side, as it rises further and further out of the water. Everyone make me a quick religion check as you are seeing this horrific abomination come out of the water.
It's so big, it has two heads, and neither of them look nice.
As Adon, you're the only one that really understands what this thing is, as you have heard rumors and whispers of the Prince of Demons, of the Demogorgon, chained and lashed in the endless abyss, as it is now rising in the dark lake of the Underdark, rising further and further as his two heads unleash this terrible roar as it shakes the entire cavern as it begins its slow approach towards you and the city of Sloop. What are you guys doing?
I'm sorry, what?
Demon, that's not the father thing.
I do hear chanting of Li'imu'ugu'ugun, but then your brains translate it as the double vowels are no longer pronounced. Limugugan. Limugugan. What are you guys doing as it is approaching? As you hear its titanic steps reach the bottom of this lake, as its torso is still above the lake. You can only imagine how big this thing is if it's only halfway out of the water, and it's already towering over all of you. It's coming closer and closer to this village.
Guys, I think we need to go.
Yeah, Trovello is not sane, and he thinks this is very funny, but also, like, yeah, he's down to leave.
Sure.
So I laugh a bunch and kind of, makes it. What? I mean, it seems like we're all going to die. You were right, Adon! You were right! We're all going to die! I would like to cast Bardic Inspiration,
Okay.
and if we're not in time, I'd like to do it to Fetter and Adon,
Sure, yeah.
in 12 seconds or whatever.
Yeah, that's fine. This is called kind of loosey-goosey here.
Yeah, okay. So
As you
each
do
of
that, everyone make me a perception check as well, please.
I was about to say, could I also, as soon as I see that, share my Eyes of Night with everyone so everyone has their 300 dark vision?
Okay.
I see nothing.
You see the chaos that's going on. Okay, Fetter, you see that there are a number of boats that are on the docks, and Demogorgon, when it came up, it destroyed the net barrier that was surrounding this town. You have a means of escape, and it looks right now as if Demogorgon isn't focusing on anything right now other than the town at large, and as its giant tentacles sweep across, it lays waste to hundreds of Kuo-toa as buildings begin to smash as it comes closer and closer and closer.
I am just going to, loud enough for the people in my immediate vicinity to hear me, say the word boats.
Okay.
And start booking it to like the far side dock, like the furthest boat from the Demogorgon that is on those docks that I can see.
Okay.
I follow after, but I do say, both sounds a lot like. Do you know what it sounds? It sounds like butts. That's what you say.
Okay.
But I am also running for my life.
Are our other allies nearby?
I was just about to get to that. Roll me a d20. As you turn around and look at your allies, they are in fact all running. All 6 of them now. Running towards the boats. You see a stool trip and fall as Sareth just scoops him up and a football player runs him towards these boats. You see Eldith running as fast as she can, holding onto her warhammer for dear life. You see that Topsy running, and then all of a sudden she's gone. And in the footsteps, you see a rat begin to scurry forward. And you all manage to get onto this one boat because now there are just enough of you to be able to fit on this boat without having it too much of an issue, and begin really making your way as out of Sludop, as you see the devastation that is occurring through this town that was going to be your safe haven, your harbor from evils of the Underdark, as now it is being destroyed by this monstrosity with 2 heads as it roars out again, the cavern shaking as it lays waste. And as you look behind you with the devastation that's occurring to Sludop as the boat goes out into the Dark Lake with all of your allies, that's where we're going to pick up in 2 weeks. Demogorgon, y'all! It's a thing!
Is Shushar with us?
Yes,
Yes.
all of your allies are with you.
Okay.
There was basically a 50-50 chance that they were going to make it, so I had you roll a die, and evens they didn't come, odds they did.
Oh.
So hey!
Wow.
Well,
So,
I'm glad it was odds because I wouldn't have left all of them behind and probably would have been dead now.
Well, you did it, and I'm so glad that you didn't use your divination to say, no, I'm going to change that. So yeah, we're going to pick up. We're going to discuss the implications of the Prince of Demons being not in the Abyss next time we play. It will not be next week. It'll be in 2 weeks. So we'll have all that time to figure out what's going on, what your next move is, and where you're going from here. Until next week, ladies and gentlemen, thank